In a small village nestled between two great mountains, there lived a boy named Rohan. He was an ordinary boy with an extraordinary dream: to climb the tallest mountain that stood proudly in front of his village. The villagers often spoke about the mountain, saying, "No one from our village has ever climbed it. It is impossible." But Rohan believed otherwise. Every morning, he would wake up early, stand outside his house, and stare at the mountain. He imagined himself standing on its peak, feeling the wind on his face and looking down at the world below. One day, he finally decided to chase his dream. He packed a small bag with food and water and set off on his journey. As he walked through the dense forest at the mountain's base, an old man sitting by the roadside called out to him. "Where are you going, young boy?" he asked. "I am going to climb the mountain," Rohan replied with excitement. The old man laughed and said, "Many have tried, but no one has succeeded. The mountain is too high, the journey too dangerous. You are just a boy." But Rohan was determined. He thanked the old man and continued his journey. As he climbed, the path became steeper, the rocks were sharp, and the wind grew stronger. After a few hours, he slipped and fell, scraping his knee. Pain shot through his leg, and for a moment he thought of turning back. But then he remembered why he had started. "I must go on," he told himself. Rohan continued climbing, step by step. He was hungry, tired, and cold. As the sun began to set, he found a small cave where he rested for the night. He ate a little food, wrapped himself in his thin shawl, and looked up at the stars. The next morning, he resumed his journey. The air was thinner now, and breathing became difficult. His legs felt heavy, and doubt started creeping into his mind. Maybe the old man was right. Maybe I am not strong enough, he thought. Just then, he heard a voice inside him say, "Keep going. One more step." And so he did, one step at a time, one breath at a time. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Rohan reached the top. He stood there, breathless, looking at the world below. The village looked so small, the forests like tiny patches of green. He felt the wind on his face, just as he had imagined. Tears welled up in his eyes, not of pain, but of joy. He had done it. He had proved to himself that no mountain was too high if he had the courage to climb it. When Rohan returned to the village, people gathered around him in awe. "You did the impossible," they said. He smiled and replied, "The only thing impossible is the limit we set in our own minds. If you believe, you can achieve." And from that day on, no one in the village ever said, "It is impossible." Instead, they said, "If Rohan can do it, so can we."